From the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tonight, you'll see welterweight champion and universally recognized best fighter in the world, Floyd Mayweather, against the best 140-pound fighter in Ricky Hatton. This fight is set at 147 pounds for Mayweather's title belt. But before our main event, a three-fight undercard, beginning with a pair of lightweights, Wes Ferguson and Edner Cherry. They fought a close battle in June, with Cherry taking the decision. Then, 122-pound title holder Daniel Ponce de Leon defends his crown against Eduardo Escobedo. And in our last fight before the main event, Jeff Lacey fights for the first time since a complex shoulder surgery, taking on Providence, Rhode Island's Peter Manfredo. Mayweather versus Hatton is being brought to you by MGM Grand, the city of entertainment in Las Vegas. Rockstar Energy Drink. Party like a rock star. Cerveza Tecate. Beer with an attitude. Southwest Airlines. Symbol of freedom. And by HBO Pay-Per-View. The best in pay-per-view entertainment. Brought to you by HBO. A chilly night in Las Vegas. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. Welcome to this last HBO pay-per-view boxing show of the year. What a tremendous year of competition it has already been in our sport. Once again, we're in a situation where so many words have been deluged in advance on a Floyd Mayweather fight. Little more can be said to embellish it, but take note of this. Tonight, for the third time in fewer than 3 months, two unbeaten fighters at the top of their games will meet in a head-to-head collision for the recognized definable championship of the division in which the fight takes place. First it was Kelly Pavlik against Jermaine Taylor in September, then Joe Calzaghe against Mikkel Kessler in early November. Again, it happens tonight. Frankly, you can go years in the sport without seeing this occurrence. We're seeing it for the third time in 3 months. It's going to be a terrific night. We're going to begin our undercard with the fight between Wes Ferguson and Edner Cherry. The two fighters are already in the ring. This is a rematch of a fight which took place earlier this year. And let's look at the tail of the tape now for Ferguson and Cherry. You can see the 3-year age advantage for the younger fighter from Flint, Michigan. He gives up an inch in height. He has an half-inch advantage in arm length. They both weighed in 1 pound under the lightweight limit, and tonight have rehydrated unofficially up to 138 and 139 pounds. Edner Cherry won a close decision in the first fight between the two, which took place back in June, and you can see why, as in total punches by CompuBox count, he landed 97 more punches than Ferguson and threw 120 more, landing at a significantly higher connect percentage of 35%. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Wes Ferguson Edner Cherry fight is scheduled for 10 rounds, non-title, using the rules of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. There is no 3-knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. A case of cut is caused by an accidental headbutt. We go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 10th and final round. Jim.
All right, thank you, Harold. There's a look at young Wes Ferguson, his hometown of Flint, Michigan, not that far away from Floyd Mayweather's hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan. So he's been fighting within the Mayweather group for the last couple of years, and among the ancillary benefits of that, gets to go on some of Floyd Mayweather's late-night cruises here in Las Vegas. Across the ring from him, the man who defeated him in a close fight back in June, Edner Cherry, who has 5 losses on his record, but is regarded in the New York and New Jersey gym scene as being a very good gym fighter and maybe better than his record portrays. Let's go into the ring to ring announcer Lupe Contreras for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the biggest stage in professional boxing, the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions and Mayweather Promotions, in association with Rockstar Energy Drink, party like a rock star, La Cerveza Tecate, Tecate, Cerveza with Attitude, and Southwest Airlines, the symbol of freedom, presents Undefeated. Tonight's bouts are being sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Chairman is John Bailey. Commissioner Skip Avancino Jr., Bill D. Brady, T.J. Day, along with Pat Lundvall. Executive Director is Keith Kaiser, keeping track of knockdowns and keeping time. Jim Carpenter, along with Mike Lasella, and our physicians at ringside, are Doctors James Game, Jeff Davidson, Anthony Ruggiero, along with Dr. Damon Zavala. Ladies and gentlemen, this bout scheduled for 10 rounds of boxing in the lightweight division. The judges are Bert Clemens, Chuck Giampa, and Dalby Shirley. Third man in the ring is referee Vic Draculich. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, he steps in wearing red trunks and weighing in at 134 pounds. His professional record, 22 victories, along with 5 losses, 2 draws, and 10 of his victories coming by way of knockout. Representing Nassau, the Bahamas, and fighting out of Wauchula, Florida, Edner, the Cherry Bomb Cherry. Cross the ring in the red corner, he steps in wearing brown, trimmed in gold, and weighing in at an identical 134 pounds. As a professional, he maintains a record consisting of 17 victories, with only 2 losses, 1 draw, and 5 of his victories coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Flint, Michigan, Wicked, Wes Ferguson.
Clear the ring. Let's go. Clear the ring. Chief, second. All right, gentlemen, this fight's scheduled for 10 rounds. You've received your instructions in the dressing room. Again, I want to caution you. Any punches below this point are going to be called low. Any punches below this point are going to be called low. With that said, I want you to obey my commands. Protect yourselves at all times. Touch them up now. Good luck to both of you.
Working with me at ringside tonight, HBO boxing expert Emmanuel Stewart and analyst Larry Merchant.
I'm wondering, Jim, why it's such a benefit to be with a pay-per-view main eventer as Ferguson is with Mayweather, if they're putting him back into a fight with a guy who beat him badly just 6 months ago.
Well, perhaps someone in Mayweather's organization has the impression, Emmanuel, that Ferguson should have won the fight or could have done better.
Well, that could have been, and maybe they decided they want to just, see what he's got. A lot of time they said, well, we're going to put you back. This guy here, you can't beat this guy, you're not going anywhere. So you have to do that every once in a while with a young fighter. And Cherry's a good guy for going. Cherry is not a really super talented fighter, not a big puncher. So it's a good test.
Right. Guys, listen to me now. Go.
Ferguson's from Michigan, the top amateur. Surely
one more of those, I'm going to take a point.
You must know something about him, Emmanuel.
Yeah, Ferguson was one of the amateurs who was on our Crunk amateur team. And when he was in one of the tournaments out here in Las Vegas, he got to be close with Floyd Mayweather Jr. and then he decided he wanted to turn professional and move to Las Vegas, which he did. And so far, he hasn't had that much super success, but he has a lot of talent to him.
Sounds like the subtext there is that you think he should have remained an amateur longer and polished his craft.
No, well, he was a part of the 2004 Olympic team, and after he didn't make the Olympic team, it was time for him to turn professional. But he had a very good background as a junior boxer. He started boxing since he was about 8 years old. He won a lot of junior national champions also.
Maybe he has a style that Mayweather loves. A pure boxing style.
Well, the point is well taken. If you're that kind of prospect, you have that kind of background, if you can't put your imprint on a fighter like Edner Cherry, who's essentially a Northeastern gym rat with 5 losses already on his record, then you probably aren't going to make it near the top.
Well, that's really a good test, but it's going to be a very interesting fight as it goes on. Neither one are big punches, which is very interesting. which means there's a good chance that it's going to go the entire 10 rounds.
And so I can sit here for a half hour, Emmanuel, still bubbling on the inside from that amazing weigh-in yesterday.
Oh, that's something that we can talk about. That's probably more entertaining than a lot of the fights that we'll see.
Later on, we'll show you scenes from yesterday's unique weigh-in experience here in Las Vegas. Quite possible that there were thousands of British spectators at that weigh-in who will not find their way into the arena for the fight tonight, given the cost of tickets and the availability limitation.
Watch over. Watch over. Time.
What happened? Tell me what happened. Huh?
I don't do.
Okay, then this is not the way we train, and I don't like this. You hear me? We lost the first round, and we lost the first round easy. You understand? Don't do this to me. Let's not come to Las Vegas and you're holding. Why are you holding? Why are you holding? Miguel Diaz called it right away. You need to be jabbing from the outside, and as soon as you get in close, you got to punch this boy. You understand?
Time up.
Beautiful shit, bro.
Time up. When you get off, big of it, time up, back with that jab.
Beautiful, Wes. You got to stay like that.
That's the whole key. You got do the jab first. Jab got jab first. When you jab to the body or jab to the head, don't make no difference. You got to jab first. Double up the jab.
Straight talk from the trainer of Edner Sherry, Peter Fernandez.
I thought both of the guys got good instructions from the quarterman. Also, Ferguson's guy, Roger, told him he's doing very well, boxing, moving, staying out of the guy's way, using his speed, and trying to keep the fight from being too physical.
Meanwhile, to listen to the two trainers, you might have thought you'd seen a one-sided round. CompuBox numbers, Ferguson 10 out of 33, Cherry 10 out of 46.
Well, even though I gave the first round to Ferguson, the strength and look like the momentum is still going with Cherry. Cherry seems to be physically much stronger and mentally also when you see them get close together.
And seems to be completely ignoring his corner's instructions.
No, well, no, I didn't. They told him to step it up and quit holding, and that's what he's doing. No,
they told him to jab, and then move in and throw. You know, the falcon does not always hear the falconer.
Right. Watch those pitches. Punch on the kidneys. Let's go. Break. Let's go. Break it clean.
It's really hard to tell which man wants to hold. They keep winding up in each other's arms.
Well, right now, Cherry is crowding Ferguson a lot, not giving him the room that he gave him the first round. And you can see a lot of discomfort on the face of Ferguson as compared to the first round.
Body shots by Edner Cherry are making their mark in the second round against Wes Ferguson.
Yeah, Cherry's a much more physical fighter. And now the fight is moving right in the area where he wants it to be.
Ferguson finding it difficult to release his hands in anything but short staccato bursts. Trying the uppercut there, looking for some space against Edner Cherry, and now Cherry stands back and gives Ferguson a chance to move. Getting on top of him again.
Don't pull back. Keep down. 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 Keep down, baby.
Break. Go. Watch punches on the back there.
Keep using to a fight off. Keep down.
If Wes Cherry would jab about one time for every 3 times that Roger Mayweather yells, "Keep jabbing," he'd have a pretty decent tempo in there.
Keep down. Keep using to keep down. Turn away. Tighten your knee up. Break down the middle. Take away to do it. Take away to do it. 10 seconds, man. 10 seconds. Full combination. Full combination, man.
Watch out. Time.
Opening Christmas night, it's 5 consecutive evenings of HBO's Boxing's Best of 2007. Among the bouts you'll see in their entirety, Miguel Cotto's defeat of Shane Mosley in Madison Square Garden last month. What a terrific welterweight fight that was, and Cotto is seated at ringside here tonight, waiting to watch Mayweather and Hatton.
Okay?
Yeah, he's gonna have to cut it off. Okay. It's the gauze.
You got 2 in the bank. You got 2 in the bank. You got,
Tuck the rest in there.
you got a box. You got a box. Got a box. Got a box and got double that jab up, triple that jab up. Keep the jab working. When you get to the time up, all you go time up when you get close to it.
Go, second down, go.
In round 2, Edna Cherry more than doubled Wes Ferguson's connect total. 17 punches landed for Cherry to 8 for Ferguson, and 16 of those 17 punches that Cherry landed were power shots. Power shots being anything other than a jab.
Break, break.
The plea of keep jabbing Wes seems to be falling on deaf ears here.
Yeah, Wes is trying, but this guy's putting a lot of pressure on him. Even though Wes may or may not be ahead on the scorecard, if I was in this corner, I would be worried about having 7 more rounds to go at the way that Cherry is dictating the pace right now.
There's Wes Ferguson's jab, and now he tries to double the jab.
But he's not today. He's had nice, flashy moves, but a lot of his punches are falling short too. He's not landing clean a lot of those punches he's throwing.
I think he's guilty of what Larry Merchant calls punching from the back seat.
As a matter of fact, no one is really landing too much right now in terms of clean bows. But Cherry seems to have the momentum and looking more physical and looking stronger going down the stretch.
Break. Let's go. Come on. Not punches.
Wes Ferguson in the brown trunks. Edna Cherry is in the blue and red.
Break. Let's go. Get him up. Put punches up.
Ferguson backing away and turning first to one side, then to another. As Cherry just keeps coming forward and stalking. Cherry digging a left hook to the body. Ferguson tries to come back with his own right hand to the body.
Break. Come in. Let's go. Come on. Break.
Roger Mayweather's going to go hoarse, yelling for Wes Ferguson to keep jabbing. And getting a little in the way of a reward. Meanwhile, 35 minutes ago, just as his younger brother Matthew Hatton was completing a unanimous decision victory over Frankie Santos on the undercard, Ricky Hatton strolled into the ring. Hatton has been at the center of a giant storm of support here in Las Vegas. The town has been Britified over the course of the past several days. The MGM Grand Hotel, largest hotel and casino in the world, seemingly 90% occupied by citizens of Great Britain. With their distinctive Midland accents, their extremely good manners, their constant use of small elements of profanity without which it seemed they might not have much to say. They are in their own way quaint, charming, utterly devoted to Ricky Hatton, and they will make their presence felt in the arena tonight. Jabs through the third round in this fight. Wes keep jabbing Ferguson, 15 out of 70. Edna Cherry, 12 out of 82. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Very, very interesting fight. 2 rounds to 1, 29-28, Wes Ferguson. Jim, in round 1, Ferguson just out-jabbed him. In round 2, Edna Cherry did what he had to do. Came forward, banged him with good, solid hooks. He's the stronger guy, landed the harder punches. But in round 3, he came forward and didn't punch. I mean, just like you saw there, Ferguson just outworked him in the 3rd round to steal the 3rd round. 2-1, Wes Ferguson.
I got to tell you, Harold, I can hope and pray that you are speaking for America when you say that it's a very, very interesting fight, but I just have a wild hunch that you may be in a small minority in that opinion. But let's see. Maybe it will turn out to be a very, very interesting fight. Edna Cherry with a right hand across the top, trying to make it more interesting right there.
You know, Ferguson looks very good when he's boxing, and it's easy for the judges to go along with him because his movements are very flashy, beautiful body rhythm. And so a lot of close rounds he's going to get just because of the rhythm and the excitement he generates even when he's not landing punches. But still, the real strength is coming right now from Cherry, and I think it's going to be more so as the fight goes on.
You're saying that Wes may have decoyed Harold a little bit in that 3rd round with his slick body movement, huh?
Right. In fact, I agree with Harold. I gave the 3rd round to Ferguson, too. I thought that Cherry was coming forward, but getting there, but not getting the punches off, a lot like Shane Mosley did in the late rounds when he was fighting with Cotto. But he let Ferguson get off the punches, and I thought just enough to win the round. But still, it's going to be interesting to see going down the stretch how things shape up.
Larry Merchant, who was not a part of our telecast team that night, but was live in Madison Square Garden, from his own vantage point in his seat, scored Cotto Mosley a draw. Shane Mosley was tremendous that night. It was a great performance by both fighters in a really high-quality fight. That was back on November 10th.
Protect yourself, get the hands up, right? Don't get careless, Wes. Watch it go. Keep down it.
That's a good sequence by Wes Ferguson. 4 straight jabs and then a right hand as Cherry walked in. Ferguson seems to be getting a little bit more comfortable in the fight.
He looks like he's in good shape, too, for this fight, because he's been under a lot of pressure. Even though it's just 4 rounds, it's been a lot of pressure been applied to him in first 4 rounds. He seems to be holding up good.
Quick uppercut by Wes Ferguson. Once again, just as Emmanuel Stewart described, Cherry getting to the space in front of Ferguson, but not throwing punches. There's a look at the ultra-serious Miguel Cotto. Boxing fan, welterweight belt holder, unbeaten Puerto Rican fighter, tremendous dossier. Right off the top of my head, I'm going to say 31-0 with 26 knockouts.
Listen, the whole key is the jab. If you don't ban the jab, you're gonna win the motherfucker quite easy. And when he comes to you, tie that motherfucker up. That's all you gotta do. Make the referee work. You ain't gotta worry about that. Yeah. Jab is the key.
Don't break on me, Wes.
Keep moving your head. Keep making with them wild shit.
Go, guys.
Right. Come on. Stop. Right.
Round 5 of a schedule 10. Wes Ferguson in the brown trunks from Flint, Michigan. Edna Cherry in the blue and red from Wauchula, Florida, and the Bahamas.
Stop. Stay off that head. Put that head up. Let's go.
know, this fight is very interesting to see how it's going to be scored because neither guy's really landing much clean punches. Most of the punches are blocked or deflected. So it's going to be very interesting to see if the judges can really score properly on this fight here. In fact, maybe about 4 punches or 5 punches the whole round may be landed clean.
Tries the patience of the fighters.
Yes.
Keep turning the corner. Keep turning the corner. Keep turning the corner. Hands up, Wes.
One good reason to learn how to segment the fight round by round by round, separate yourself from whatever happened in the last round and just go in this 3-minute frame, right?
You have to do that. Now this round right here looks like Cherry may be coming on this round simply, not that he's landing that much, but he seems to be being more effective, being aggressive this round. But no one has landed too many clean blows.
One of the most interesting moments of mental adjustment and separation from the circumstances we've seen all year came after Jermaine Taylor punished Kelly Pavlik in the second round in Atlantic City, knocked him down, almost knocked him out, completely dominated the round, and Pavlik, after getting his head together between rounds, came out and fought the third round in basically the same style and won it.
In fact, he seemed to have more energy in the third round than he had in the first round.
That was a critical turning point in what ultimately became a 7th round knockout victory for Pavlik, and that matchup will take place again on February 16th.
Motherfucking jab work, keep your head moving, time up when you get close to that rope. All right? That's the #1 thing. You time up when you get close to that rope, he can't do shit in the middle of the ring. You wipe his nose up, Raphael.
Put a little tape on, put a little grease on that cover, Raphael.
Keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry, he gonna get easier down the stretch. You already doing what you're doing to him. Down the stretch.
Nonsense, man. You're a much better fighter than this. So jab on your way in, give me some separation, let them hands go. Just that simple.
And when you step to your right, it's perfect. You see what you just did over here? You connected with the right and left. But if you're behind him, you're going to try to reach him with the right hand. He's already no longer there. Step to the right.
You got to let your hands go, son. You got to let them go. You hear me?
5th round was a pretty good one for Wes Ferguson, who got off more punches than Cherry. Seems to land the crisper, sharper shots.
And when you're fighting a very elusive fighter like Ferguson, you know, Cherry has to throw short, straight punches. He throws those wide, looping right hands, and you can't land on a guy that's moving good. He's got good coordination like that.
Cherry moving and jabbing in this round. 2 jabs to the body. Ferguson with pretty good head movement when Cherry tries to jab upstairs, but not good enough head movement to get away from the left hook, which has just knocked him onto the canvas.
It was kind of off balance like that. He got caught with a very good left hook, and he was back and back at the same time. So that gives Cherry a possible edge in points, particularly if he can win this round.
Yeah, it was a combination push and punch, and now Cherry seems to feel like he's got Ferguson in big trouble, and I didn't even think Ferguson was really hurt with the punch.
I don't think he was at it, but I think he just hurt him with that right club and right hand, but really did damage. But once again, it just, you know, Cherry's just physically is a strong guy.
Left hook, right to the body. Ferguson does seem to be wilting just a little bit under Cherry's pressure right now, and I think you're exactly right, Emmanuel, that that winging right hand with which he began this assault did a lot more damage than the left hook that put Ferguson on the canvas.
Yeah, and if he would throw a straight right hand sometimes instead of a long one, he would be more effective. But he gets right on the guy and has his hand right near his head, and then he reaches way up in there to throw the shot. And you can't do that with a good guy with good coordination the way that Ferguson has.
So there's a knockdown in the round for Edner Cherry, who seemed to be falling behind in the fight on Harold Letterman's scorecard, at least. And now has a new burst of energy. See how young Ferguson responds to adversity.
It seems to be doing good. And then Cherry may have expended himself a little bit that round trying to finish off Ferguson.
Ferguson has the faster hands if he can find some opportunities to counter here. He may even be able to reverse the balance in the round and win it and limit Cherry to 10-9. But now time running out on Ferguson in round number 6. And Edna Cherry begins working to try to consolidate the advantage he created with that knockdown early in the round, and there's a second left hook knockdown, and this time Ferguson is really hurt.
It's over with. It's over.
That is the end of the fight.
Yeah.
Wes Ferguson getting caught by a big left hook from Edna Cherry.
So he beat him badly the first time and worse the second time.
Yeah,
Sudden knockout.
I could kind of see that happening as the fight was going on. You could see this guy was more strong and more alert and mentally and physically. And yeah, I thought it would have happened in the late part. I thought it would have been later than this, though.
Again, you have to wonder why they would put this kid back in with a guy who beat him badly the first time 6 months later.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas, yeah.
Here's the first knockdown, Emmanuel.
As a knockdown right there, I thought it was a lot he lost his balance, but it was a good, clean, tremendous shot. But see, you could see it was like losing his balance as he was going down. So I didn't think he was hurt that much from that punch.
Will Ferguson ever recover from this, in your opinion, Emmanuel, knowing him from his younger days?
I really don't think he will. I mean, I shouldn't be that. He's a young fighter, but it was a serious knockout right there. He went down.
Yeah, he went down like the proverbial sack of bricks on that one, and his head hit the canvas pretty hard. So this is something for the doctors to look at very carefully, and medical examiners are looking at Ferguson in the ring right now.
He needs to take a long rest and forget about a 90-day or a 60-day suspension. He shouldn't be in the gym doing any boxing in a gymnasium for about 6 months, in this case here.
Edna Cherry pulling the trigger perfectly on a left hook and scoring 2 left hook knockdowns in the 6th round to put Wes Ferguson away.
And you get the feeling that the pain in Ferguson's face is more than just about getting punched hard.
Well, you know, it's a nice situation, and he's been, I think he's the only fighter I know that Floyd Mayweather Jr. signed up and has been handling his career and probably been treating him very well. I know Iverson Floyd has been taking good care of him financially, so he may realize that that may be in jeopardy now.
Let's go to Lupe Contreras for the official particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout comes to a sudden and dramatic end with an official time of 2 minutes, 59 seconds of the 6th round. Your winner, by way of knockout, Edna, the Cherry Bomb Cherry.
And we'll look at final CompuBox numbers, which will reflect a slight advantage for Edna Cherry. Landing 17 more, throwing 50 more. Slightly higher connect percentage. Ferguson had been winning in rounds 3, 4, and 5, or so it appeared. But Cherry totally turned out the lights on him in round number 6 with 2 big left hooks. Power punches, and of course the 2 that mattered were the 2 left hooks and 1 winging right hand that did all the damage in the 6th round. Cherry landing twice as many, 58 to 27, and throwing 68 more. So there was more power in Edna Cherry's game, and that's what helped to create the knockout for him. A very cold but very beautiful night in Las Vegas. All of the neon shining as we get ready for our main event coming up later. Floyd Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton. Also still to come, 122-pound champion Daniel Ponce de Leon against Eduardo Escobedo. And then comebacking Jeff Lacey against the contenders Peter Manfredo. Lacey coming off of complex shoulder surgery. And then our main event, Floyd Mayweather facing Ricky Hatton. Now let's take a look at our next fight on HBO pay-per-view.
High drama.
They are legends.
Now the combinations begin to flow.
Felix Trinidad, the pride of Puerto Rico, with the heart of a champion who never relents.
Trinidad corners his man.
Roy Jones Jr., like no one before, has conquered champions from middle to heavyweight.
Jones starting to risk it all.
Bring on the Titans. Trinidad versus Jones, Saturday, January 19th, live on pay-per-view. Contact your pay-per-view provider to order.
Here's a look at Floyd Mayweather's dressing room. Last May, when he fought Oscar De La Hoya, this is the dressing room in which De La Hoya prepared for the fight. This is the A dressing room, and on that evening, it was Oscar De La Hoya's 154-pound title belt, which was at stake. De La Hoya also has the longer-standing contractual relationship with the MGM Grand Hotel, so understandably, he had this, the A room, last May. Tonight, Mayweather moves to the A room, and down the hall from him, in the same room in which Mayweather dressed last May, the opponent Ricky Hatton prepares.
I want you to protect yourself at all
So
times.
let's take a look at what happened on the
obey.
evening
Touch
of
him up.
May 5 in this much-anticipated battle between the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport and the sport's #1 gate attraction. And early in the fight in round 4, Oscar De La Hoya trying to remake himself, Emmanuel Stewart, into a body destroyer.
And this is the worst thing he could have did, because at all those punches you saw, nothing was effective at all. Just wasted energy. And I was very surprised with all of Oscar's experience, how hyper he comes out and throws punches when there's not even a target.
Nevertheless, Larry, there were many in the arena and many at home who thought because Mayweather was not forcing the action and because De La Hoya was throwing so many more punches that it was, in fact, Oscar who was winning the fight. By the 9th round, it became clearer what Mayweather's surgery was all about.
Well,
But at the end of the night, he got a split decision over a fighter whose best days are behind him.
In fact, the fight was dead even on the scorecards through the 8th round. And De La Hoya may have had a better chance in the late rounds, Emmanuel Stewart, had he been able to retain his vaunted jab, but somehow it disappeared.
but you know, all Oscar had to do, I felt, in the fight was just to use his left hand, as big as it was, but he was fighting, trying to be an aggressive fighter, which is not his style. And Mayweather fought his regular style, and he won the fight. But all Oscar had to do was just box, not get involved in too many exchanges and flurries.
One of the 3 judges did prefer De La Hoya. The other 2 saw Mayweather's counter shots as the key to victory for pretty boy Floyd. Ricky Hatton is next on Mayweather's list. It had not necessarily been planned that way, but Mayweather claims that when Hatton pulled him out in the ring in the wake of his 4th-round knockout of Jose Luis Castillo a few months ago, he turned to his manager, Leonard Ellerbe, and said, make the blanking fight. So tonight we get Mayweather for the 2nd time this year against one of the other giant marquee stars in the sport, Ricky Hatton. And now the tale of the tape, Daniel Ponce de Leon versus Eduardo Escobedo at 122 pounds. De Leon, 27 years old, one of the great personal background stories in the sport. He comes from as close to nothing as is humanly possible. Escobedo is 23, from Mexico City. A 2-inch height advantage for younger Escobedo. A 1/2-inch arm length advantage for De Leon. They both weighed in within a pound of the 122-pound weight class limit, and tonight they both enter the ring weighing 130 pounds. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Daniel Ponce de Leon Eduardo Escobedo fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules that you see on your screen. Jim, real quick, the 4 criteria that the judges will use to score each individual round: clean punching, effective aggressiveness, great generalship, and defense, with a strong emphasis on clean, effective punching. Jim.
Let's go to ring announcer Lupe Contreras for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, so our next bout of the evening being brought to you by Golden Boy Promotions and Mayweather Promotions in association with Romanza Boxing Productions. Rockstar Energy Drink, party like a rock star in the UK. La Cerveza Tecate, Tecate beer with attitude. And Southwest Airlines, the official airline of Golden Boy Promotions. This bout, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Junior Featherweight Championship of the World. President and Supervisor, Francisco Paco Valcárcel. The judges are Adelaide Bird, Dwayne Ford, and Robert Hoyle. The referee, Kenny Bayless. And now, ladies and gentlemen, two Mexican warriors enter the ring, one world title on the line, and we find out who is El Más Macho. Introducing first, fighting out in the blue corner. He steps in wearing the colors of Mexico, red, green, and white, and weighing in at an official 122 pounds. His professional record, 20 victories, with only 2 losses, and 14 of his victories coming by way of knockout. De la Ciudad de México, DF 100% Chilango, Eduardo Escobedo. Across the ring in the red corner, he steps in wearing black, trimmed in gold, and weighed in at 121 pounds. Since representing his homeland of Mexico in the 2000 Olympics, he has gone on to compile a professional record consisting of 33 victories, with 1 lone defeat, and 30 of his victories coming by way of knockout. Defending his WBO Junior Featherweight Championship of the World, de Cuauhtémoc, Chihuahua, Mexico, Daniel Ponce de León.
Ring center. Okay, trunks are good here, trunks are good here. Gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want you to keep the fight clean at all times, protect yourself at all times, and what I say you must obey. Good luck, touch gloves. Buena suerte.
Ponce de León is a left-handed slugger. Like the fighter he wants to pattern himself after, Manny Pacquiao. He says he's studied Manny Pacquiao's career and how he's become a more polished, well-rounded fighter, and that's what he is attempting now against a good technician.
If you've seen Ponce de León with us before, you know that he is a member of the Tarahumara Indian tribe. In the past, he has worn a long braid down the back of his neck and onto his back, which was symbolic of that tribe's traditional garb. Finally, he says he's decided it's a distraction and has cut it off. The substitute move now is to bring into the ring with him a member of the tribe dressed in their traditional garb. He fights against a Spanish lineage Mexican citizen from Mexico City, which is a whole different ethnic background. In fact, it's fascinating to us that Ponce de León told us he's lived in the Huntington Park area of Los Angeles, largely populated by Mexican Americans for the past few years. And when we asked him, have you ever seen another member of the Tarahumara tribe, he said, no, not a single one. Hard left hand by Escobedo, and Ponce de León walked right into it. And if there's a weakness in Ponce de León, it's pretty obvious, Emmanuel Stewart. He's still learning defense at a level way below what he's able to do on offense.
Yeah, and you know, every time he punches, he has to take a big step before he punches, and you can see it coming. And his punches are really not that crisp. He takes a big step, but he punches with such regularity. Most guys with big punches don't punch that often, but he throws a lot of punches, and every one of them has knockout power in it.
Yeah, he's kind of like the classic bad ball hitter. He's a home run swinger who swings at every pitch. Not selective like a Barry Bonds. Gets hit once again with a hard counter shot from Escobedo, and In a win earlier this year over Jerry Penalosa, crafty Filipino veteran, Ponce de Leon more or less got a graduate school education in that fight as he went out and launched a big try for the knockout in the first couple of rounds, came up empty, realized he was going to have to box, kind of stepped back, collected himself, went to work behind his jab, and showed us things that we weren't really sure he had.
The one thing I like about Escobedo, whereas the last fight, Ponce de Leon knocked out Ray Bautista with a straight left right down the center, Escobedo keeps his right hand right in position to avoid getting hit with those straight left hands compared to where Bautista kept his right hand on the side of his head. And it's really been causing a problem for Ponce de Leon tonight because he cannot land the straight left the way he wanted to.
Escobedo's having a pretty good first round, going straight up the middle with counter shots against Ponce de Leon's wide winging offerings. And this is the textbook way to try to beat a Daniel Ponce de Leon, is counter him up the middle. Escobedo's had about 5 quick solid connects in the first round, like that uppercut right there.
Very nice, very nice. The only thing, just bring your head down a little bit more, but you did very nice. See, in those first rounds, keep your distance. 1, 2 punches, no more. That's it. You're throwing real nice, real good at your range. Very nice. What's wrong? Loosen up. What's up? He's hitting you too much. Why? What's wrong? You feeling okay? Okay. What would you see? He has nothing. Come on, you're too tight. Loosen up. You're too straight. You're too forward. You're too frontal. You're too square. Now be more natural.
The stakes in this fight are higher for the champion or title holder, De Leon, than they may be for Escobedo, because De Leon is willing to fight the winner of the trilogy between Vasquez and Marquez. Wonderful first 2 fights. But Escobedo, he spars with both Marquez brothers and says he wouldn't fight Marquez if he were to win the rubber match of that series.
That's Rafael Marquez and Israel Vasquez, the top 2 fighters in the 122-pound weight class, who have traded knockout victories this year and will meet for the 3rd time in the upcoming months. And of course, Rafael Marquez is the younger brother of Juan Manuel Marquez, who came into the fighter meeting yesterday with Escobedo, and who is a part of Escobedo's surrounding group. You know, of course, Juan Manuel Marquez is trained by the brilliant Nacho Beristain, trainer of many great Mexican fighters over the years, including Daniel Zaragoza, including Ricardo Lopez. And you saw him in the corner training Escobedo for this fight. So it's no surprise that Escobedo has some textbook skills, given that he's a Beristain product.
Very, very fundamentally sound. Like all of the fighters come from Nacho is always that way. Lopez, who Escobedo said was his favorite Mexican fighter, which was kind of surprising. I thought it would have been probably Julio Cesar Chavez, and then he's boxing with 2 of the best basic fundamental fighters in the world, in the Marquez brothers, on a regular basis.
Daniel Ponce de Leon was able to beat Jerry Penalosa when challenged sternly earlier this year, largely by cranking up his jab in the middle rounds and working behind it to good effect. With about 1.5 minutes to go in this round, half minute ago, at that moment, CompuBox informed us that Ponce de Leon had not yet landed a jab in the fight. He's reaching with the right hand, but doesn't seem to be getting there.
Ponce de Leon is really very slow, very uncoordinated as compared to Escobedo, but he takes a good punch, and he punches very hard and from all angles, and you never can tell when he's going to turn the fight around with 1 punch.
Ponce de Leon has the kind of heart you might expect from someone who is the 5th child of his family.
And he landed a right hook, I think, which hurt Escobedo. In fact, that's the punch he's been landing fairly good tonight, and very few people are noticing it probably, but he's landing a right hook.
You know, 3 or 4, maybe 5 times in that round, Escobedo lowered his head and used that tactic with his back showing to his opponent, inviting foul punches. What's the ruling on all that? Should he be penalized, warned?
Well, even though he's boxing good.
What he has you arranged. You know what you're doing. You know what he's doing. Come on, use that counter attack. Step it up. You see, you did it in the first round and you beat him there. Come on, it's real easy. Real easy. Come on, where's the water? Come on, use that combination. Put the other one in. What are you there for? Loosen up. Set him up with that jab. Come on, you're too tight. Come on, loosen up, set it up.
From what interpreter Jerry Olaya is giving us in Daniel Ponce de Leon's corner, it sounds as though trainer Mario Morales wants to see the Ponce de Leon who can throw between 120 and 150 punches around when he really lets his hands go and cranks it up.
Well, this kid makes it very hard to do that against. I mean, De Leon told us that the tribal members from where he comes from are great long-distance runners. Well, he's fighting one now.
He's decided to be determined to go ahead and give Morales what he wants as he comes out with his hands flying in this round and gets busted on the chops with a perfect left-hand counter punch as a result.
He's not as talented as Escobedo, as I was saying earlier, but I like what I see coming, considering the lack of talent he's got. He's making a fight to be what is good for him. He's making the guy trade with him. He's taking him out of his boxing pattern. And actually, with all of the punching power he's got, eventually I think he's going to start getting to Escobedo. He's smart in his own clumsy way.
Sheer determination.
And very relaxed. Seems to be very relaxed. Even though he throws a lot of punches, he's very relaxed. Tremendous stamina.
Well, I was about to mention in the last round, he's the fifth of 5 children in his family, and his 4 elder brothers and sisters all died in infancy because the remote mountain town in which they were born had no medical facilities at all. No clinic, no hospital, no doctor. So when Daniel was born, his parents elected to move to the foot of the mountain to a small town named Cuauhtémoc to give him a chance to live. Live he did, and he has become, as you can see, a 122-pound world title holder with a chance at perhaps gaining preeminence in the division if he ever gets a fight against a Rafael Marquez or an Israel Vasquez. Although when you think of the kind of craft those guys have, and you see the number of times that Ponce de Leon gets hit solidly with counter punches, you wonder if either of the two might send him flying into the 3rd row. But he's awfully strong and takes a good shot.
Very strong physically and mentally.
This is one of those fights I wish we had a smaller ring for.
Escobedo isn't wishing for a smaller ring.
Well, that's the point.
Escobedo might like to have a few more acres in there.
Yeah, it's been a lot of pressure being put on him.
Time!
Ricky Hatton very relaxed in his dressing room as he searches the iPod or the MP3, whichever it is, for the music of his choice. He'll play some rock and roll, and at some point he will erupt into a pad-hitting frenzy with his trainer, Billy Graham, holding the pads, and he'll shout and grunt a la Monica Seles while he does it. Earlier this evening, his brother Matthew Hatton, on the right and now on the left in the gold trunks, fought against a fighter named Frankie Santos from Puerto Rico. Matthew Hatton is the classic other brother type who gets very little attention, fighting 8-rounders on the undercards of his younger brother's marquee fights, and or his older brother's marquee fights, and he got himself another victory in what has been a journeyman career. That's always a good sign for Ricky when Matthew Hatton wins his fight on the undercard. Average CompuBox numbers through 3 rounds. Ponce de Leon, 15 out of 82. Escobedo, 10 out of 44 in each round. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim. 2 rounds to 1. 29-28. Daniel Ponce de Leon. Jim, I like his aggressiveness and his hard punching. You know, keeps coming forward, keeps winging those shots. Escobedo tried to counter punch. I mean, Escobedo won the first round with clean counter punches, but the last 2, Ponce de Leon just put on too much pressure, landed too many good shots. To answer Larry's question, when Escobedo turns away, if he gets hit in the back of the head, hey, what are you going to do? I mean, Ponce de Leon is punching. He doesn't need to hit him in the back of the head. I can't see penalizing Ponce de Leon because this guy's turning away. The truth of the matter is the fight is not supposed to turn his back on you.
And when he's in close like that is that chopping right hand that Ponce de Leon shoots when he chops down. That seems to have been very effective in catching Escobedo, because Escobedo feels that he's safe when he's like that, and he's getting hit with that chopping right hand on the left side of his head.
And now the inevitable seems to be happening. As with his constant flow of punches, awkward though they are, Daniel Ponce de Leon is getting Escobedo to go into a shell. Until a few minutes ago, or a few seconds ago, I should say, Escobedo wasn't firing counter punches at all, but simply was taking punishment and trying to back away from Ponce de Leon. And as long as this pattern obtains, it will only be a matter of time before the attrition will wear Escobedo out.
I think the referee, has to warn Escobedo about this tactic of lowering his back to his opponent. That should be a penalty if he persists.
Because you see it as a deliberate attempt to elicit a foul.
Well, whether it is or he isn't, it can cause a foul. What is technically a foul. And if you're as good a boxer and you're trained by Berestein, who's such a good trainer of boxers, that should not be a tactic.
Well, that's kind of pressure that he's getting put on him. He's probably not used to that, because in the gym boxing with the Marquez guys and Lopez and all those guys, those are all good technical boxers. He's probably never had this kind of pressure applied on him the way this guy does.
I think that's a very good point, man.
He's just starting to get a little wilting under it. But I tell you what, Ponce de Leon is doing enough to correct it, because he keeps hitting with that chopping right hand every chance he gets when he bends his head down.
I think it has to burn Macho Berestein up to see his more skilled, more polished fighter being wilted, in effect, and beaten down by a guy who does it with sheer determination and strength.
Very nice. Very nice. Go on to the 5th. Very good. But remember, use your combinations. This is the 5th. 1, 2, 1, 2. Remember. 1, 2 punches. You're working on it. Come on, you've got to punch on both sides. What happened to the right hand? Come on, relax, relax. Relax, come on, relax a bit. Too tight. Come on, get a little bit close. Get a little bit more on the inside. He's going against the ropes. And take advantage of that. Come on, you're throwing punches. You're too loose.
These are fights that the British fans, who are usually so vocal, could care less about. So despite the fact, or maybe because that very few of them have had any solid food for days on end. I mean, the bars have been going... Or at least
what they regard as solid food.
Yeah, it's been going on. The bars have been full 6 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We hear of planes that came over here with them that were run out of beer. Maybe they've made some emergency landings to refuel with beer.
Interestingly, you haven't named a time yet that wasn't past 5 p.m. in Great Britain. CompuBox numbers in round 4 show us that we finally saw a typical Daniel Ponce de Leon round as he threw 119 and landed 30. Escobedo was 11 out of 51.
In front, in front. In front.
Here's a good right-hand counter shot by Escobedo, who seems to have gotten a little bit more aggressive in response in this round.
Yeah, so far it's been a very good round for him.
See, right there.
Yeah, right there.
He's done that a dozen times in this fight. Doing it again.
And somehow Ponce de Leon has managed to avoid landing anything really big or bad on the back or the back of the head, although he's flirting with it all the time.
That sheer pressure is forcing him to do that.
No. Don't hold him down. Hold up. Don't hold him down.
Is he holding him down, or is Escobedo holding himself down? What is the answer here?
Under the pressure, that's the first thing Escobedo does when he gets too close. He doesn't just drop down and come up with a punch. He just drops down and just tries to stop punching altogether like he does right there. And the referee should never be penalizing Ponce de Leon, in my opinion, in that case. Because the hands are free and he's still punching.
He's the guy trying to make the fight, and you're going to punish him for that?
Kenny Bayless has not exacted any penalty so far. Penalty points are not yet a factor in the fight. What is a factor is that Daniel Ponce de Leon is increasingly letting his punches flow like water and physically intimidating Eduardo Escobedo.
Well, so far in the two fights we've seen, it's not been a good night for the pure boxer, whatever that portends.
Yeah, but Matthew Hatton won. He was a pretty pure boxer.
I don't count anything before we come on the air.
Starting December 25, it's 5 consecutive nights of HBO's Boxing's Best of 2007. Among the bouts you'll see in their entirety, Kelly Pavlik's hijacking of the middleweight title from Jermaine Taylor. Tremendous battle in which both fighters saw the canvas.
No.
Vaselina. Where's the Vaseline now? Oh, you're cut now. Come on, finish it off, or we're gonna lose. Come on, that wasn't a head fight.
Is Escobedo cut someplace, or is that?
I think it's Ponce de Leon.
A little abrasion maybe in the corner of his left eye, is that?
Yes.
Good left hand and right hand by Escobedo there. Finding the target. Huge right hand by Escobedo. One of his best punches in the fight.
Well, Ponce de Leon has forced him to fight his fight, and now Escobedo is fighting a better fight. Be careful what you wish for.
Sudden wellspring of confidence, it seems, for Eduardo Escobedo, and Kenny Bayless making clear that that is not a knockdown. There is an abrasion under the left eye of Daniel Ponce de Leon.
It's a hit. It's a hit.
It's abundantly clear that some of the sheer heavy-handedness of Ponce de Leon has vanished in his attempt to learn how to box.
Yeah, you can see his punches coming. That's what takes away. I mean, he's not a short, sharp, accurate puncher. You see the punches coming, but he just seems to gradually wear you down for the most part, at least in this fight. with Bautista, he just drove his shot straight through the center.
I'm just wondering if he wasn't more effective. I'm just wondering if he wasn't more effective a year ago when he was more of just a raw, wild swinger with no technique whatsoever. Of course, you can only go so far with that because of the nature of the opposition. Yeah, but he's learning how to fight.
But Escobedo is a very well-schooled fighter, though, too. You know, he's basically very sound, and the kind of boxer he's getting in the gym all the time. He's not going to be walked over easy by anyone.
Ponce de Leon was very upfront in telling us in the fighter meeting yesterday, oh yes, I want to fight Israel Vasquez, but when you look at Escobedo land his counter shots against the awkwardness of Daniel Ponce de Leon, despite all of Ponce de Leon's terrific qualities, and there are many, it's hard to imagine him being competitive in a fight with Israel Vasquez or Rafael Marquez. They're just really good. Floyd Mayweather has become, in the past few years, increasingly comfortable under the glare of television lights and in the presence of television cameras. You could see him during the recent 24/7 series on HBO, even at times instructing those around him as to exactly what it is the telecast is looking for, helping some of his associates to understand the editorial lines involved in the telecast and how it's best to play to the 24/7 mentality. He is a star, a very self-conscious, self-aware, self-constructed star of the sport. Floyd Mayweather, with all the trappings imaginable.
Get that water.
Mayweather will try to polish his stardom later this evening against Ricky Hatton. One more fight after this one, that between Jeff Lacey and Peter Manfredo, and then we'll see the main event between Hatton and Floyd Mayweather. We go to the 7th of a scheduled 12 between Daniel Ponce de Leon in the black trunks and Eduardo Escobedo in the white with green trim. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, 5 rounds to 1, 59-55, Daniel Ponce de Leon. Jim, I gotta tell you, Daniel Ponce de Leon just keeps coming forward, keeps whacking away. The problem is he doesn't throw an uppercut. I mean, Eduardo Escobedo, like Larry said, he bends his head down. It's a defensive measure that he's trying to do. He's trying to get away from Ponce de Leon's shots. So he puts his head down. He's wide open for an uppercut, and Ponce de Leon can't bring the right hand up. Be as it may, Ponce de Leon on clean punching and effective aggressiveness, 59-55.
In our interviews yesterday, Escobedo was whispering his answers. It was hard to get more than a word and a half out of him. Maybe that's how some boxers just are temperamentally. Although Floyd Mayweather would certainly be the extreme other side of that equation.
Stop.
Escobedo's manager told us he was nervous. Nervous despite the fact that he arrived in the company of Juan Manuel Marquez, a fighter with whom we've been speaking, of course, for years. Marquez, incidentally, arrived with a big scar on his forehead from a recent automobile accident.
It must have been a very bad accident, too.
Yeah, fresh stitches on his forehead, obviously from a laceration that had come from the accident, and it'll be interesting to see if that turns up as any kind of factor in his fight with Manny Pacquiao coming up in March. Certainly Pacquiao will be fascinated to hear that upcoming opponent Juan Manuel Marquez survived an automobile accident.
Come on, son, that's it. Very good. That's the way. Just that way. Keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing very good. Just like this round. You have to keep on doing the same thing. Just like that. You're dictating the pace. You're controlling the fight. Come on, you can turn him. Come on, you're stepping forward, but you're not pressing anything. You're not developing our technique. Come on, what's going on? Come on, I see you. What? Come on, you're not throwing anything. You're not throwing your punches. They're not tight.
De Leon looks worse in the corner than he does when he's in the ring.
Yeah, and I don't.
In the middle of the fight. What does that mean, Emmanuel?
I don't know. I don't like all of the rubbing they're doing, rubbing his arms and his muscles, which I think, wears the arms out and makes the punches be a little slower than they already are. They have it of Escobedo bending down every time someone puts pressure on him. It can be very fatal if he was fighting a guy, particularly if De Leon could throw a right uppercut, not so much left, because he would never see the punch coming. As soon as you get pressure on him, he starts bending down right away.
That's what Harold said. If he throws a right uppercut, he ends the fight. Instead, he runs the risk of creating a foul because he's much more inclined to chop to the back of Escobedo's neck with a right hand.
I don't know if you can throw an uppercut low enough to get under him with any power.
No.
6'5" Lennox Lewis, used to launch uppercuts from down near the canvas somewhere.
Oh, hold on, no. Let it go. Here we go.
I don't know what the rule book says, but I think that a fighter who comes in the way he does, lowering his back, it merits a penalty.
No.
Well,
I don't know.
There used to be a rule. I don't know. There used to be. If you ducked your head to the belt line of the opponent, you would actually have points taken.
That's what I mean.
Front. Hold. Stop. Here we go. Hold it.
In careers which combine to add up to 56 fights, neither fighter has ever had a knockout past this point in the fight. So we have to suspect at this moment, at least in terms of statistical probability, that we're going to be going 12 rounds.
Sounds like the Brits decided to entertain themselves since this fight isn't doing it for them.
I guess I was foolish in promising a couple hundred of those British fans over the course of the last couple of days that the Ponce de Leon fight would be entertaining.
Nice. That's just a school of boxing. Very nice. You see, he's caught already. Now you change your straight shot for that hook. Use your hook and think left. Think left and use your uppercut.